I've missed you. We have so much we need to catch up on. And so let's take a moment and really catch up on life. I can't catch up on everything because I'm kind of short on time, but honey, a lot has happened since we have spoken last. One, I moved out. Yes. I now have my own apartment. Big deal, big deal, big deal, big deal, big deal. I've been telling you all about how this year I'm celebrating my birthday very different than I have in the past. I'm not the biggest fan of my birthday. I don't look forward to that day. And so I decided to adjust my relationship to my birthday by treating every day of the year like my birthday, and I'm giving myself a gift every day. Now, let's talk about how I'm actually doing that. I'm giving myself a gift every day by simply checking in with what it is that I want and need and giving myself that. And so when you start to give yourself like micro doses of joy, you realize by the time your birthday comes around, like you have the greatest gift ever because you're living your dream life, right? And so there have been all these little things that I have been able to give to myself throughout the year. And they're so life changing, right? Like it can be the gift of space when you are overwhelmed, right? It can be the gift of, like, you know what? I am going to take a break from this thing that's no longer serving me. It can be the gift of applying for something that you have been terrified of applying to for fear of rejection and actually doing the thing and realizing, I got accepted, right? It can be the gift of looking at your life in the areas that you're like, okay, there's a gap here. Like this area is flowing well and this area is a little bit is struggling. And then going out and finding a resource that taps into that. For me, earlier in the year, one of the areas that I was like, okay, I feel like I need a crash course. Okay, we know high school, middle school, none of the schools taught us about finances. And so I was like, I need a crash course on finances because I'm turning 30 this year and I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. I'm swiping, 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 hoping the money there. And so I gave myself the gift of one, reading an incredible finance book series. And then I ended up finding a coach that I really enjoyed, took some of her like smaller courses and programs around that, read her book, gave myself the gift of a physical copy of her book, um, and just giving myself those little gifts, right? And then, of course, I invested in my time in a local program that ended up being free for women who are entrepreneurs who want to get their finances together. And that drastically changed my life. And so here I am now, all those little gifts gave me the gift of being able to move out and live on my own, honey. So by the time I get to 30 at the end of the year, honey, I'm gonna be living my dream life. And it's okay to be living a variation of it, right? There are always going to be things that we evolve in terms of our desires, our wants, our needs, but like this version of my dream life, it feels very tangible, very close. And so I'm very appreciative of that. And so that's a big thing that has drastically changed. Now, I called you today because I was scrolling because yes, that's what I do in the morning. I was scrolling and somebody made this really cool post about like how to have a weekend alone without feeling lonely. And that was like, I don't know, it really connected to me because I feel like this is something that we talk a lot about is that feeling of loneliness and trying to build a social circle, find friends, find community, find your tribe. And I have definitely come to a place where I can be with myself without feeling like I'm by myself. Um, and so I want to talk a little bit how we get there because I think that this is a big, big thing, right? And it's not something that happens overnight. It is certainly something that it may take several seasons to be able to get to that place, but it's totally within reach. Okay. So I think one of the biggest things that has gotten me there is one, spending time with myself, right? And you'll see that I'm using this word with very intentionally. With is very different than by myself, right? Because with it feels like something you say when you're with another person, right? So I'm with this person, I'm hanging out with. And so seeing ourselves as a person, as a whole person, and realizing that since I'm a person, when I have time where I get to connect with myself, I actually am with a person, right? I'm not alone. And I think sometimes we look around the room, and because we don't see another physical person there, we discount the fact that, well, we are also taking up space in that space. Um, and so that it sounds a little, but the reality is that simple truth adjusts how our relationship with ourselves. And so we have to start there. The other thing is really like not letting life happen to you, but happen for you over the weekend is really important. And so what do I mean by that? I mean, instead of just like, I'm laying around the house trying to take as many naps as possible so I can like hurry up and get to Monday because then I'm going to be able to see some people because right now I don't have anybody to see over the weekend. Now we see why it feels like it goes on forever versus letting life happen for you. So all the different things that you're doing, seeing it as something that you're doing for yourself. Again, recognizing that there are a lot of things that you can give yourself in lieu of maybe wanting someone else to give it to you. What do I mean by that? You may want someone to cook you meals, okay, instead of having to cook for yourself. I get it, honey. It's definitely part of my dream life to have a personal chef because I do not desire to be cooking for myself. Um, and so what do I mean? What does this look like? Giving yourself something. It means when you are preparing your food, realizing that it's not like, oh, I have to cook again. It is, okay, what am I in the mood for? What do I have a taste for? Okay, cool. What do we have available to us? All right, let's creatively make something for myself because I have this specific craving. So maybe you are not able to, DoorDash every meal over the weekend, but you're like, okay, I'm craving something sweet, something savory. Okay, cool. What is available to me that meets that craving? And then realize that you are giving yourself that, right? You're giving yourself a fulfilling of the craving through food. Another thing is like maybe you are like, oh, I really would love to like go and do something, right? Like, maybe your favorite song comes on while you're like, I was gonna say on the radio. We don't really do that no more, do we? Something really weird that may happen to you. I don't know. Sometimes like I'm listening to these commercials, like when I'm listening to music, or like I'm on YouTube and I'm like, that like I think they're getting smart with how they're like doing these ads to make our brains pay attention a little bit more because they're using more music and that makes me focus for a little bit longer on the ad because I'm like, I think it's a continuation of either the song I was listening to on Spotify or I'm just like, oh, I like this song. Let me figure out where I can listen to the whole thing at. Right. And so maybe you are doing something weird like that with me where you actually get into the music, they're playing these ads and you're like, oh, I want to dance, I want to go dancing. Cool, then take yourself out dancing, right? And make it a whole experience. You know how sometimes when we're going out with people, whether it's friends or a partner, whatever, we make a whole experience out of it, like getting ready, right? And the excitement of getting ready, the anticipation. And it's like, I want you to be able to pour love into yourself in the same way that you prepare yourself to pour love and joy and excitement into the other people that you love. Love yourself in the same way, honey. Okay. So that is one thing. Maybe that's two things. And so recognizing that like whatever it is that you need on some level, there's a way you can give it to yourself, right? If you need more movement in your day, honey, go for a walk. Tired of being cramped up in the house, then get out the house. Um, Now I do have to do a little bit of a better job of like figuring out what are some things I could do when like I don't have anything specifically planned. Um, I feel like for me, I'm a planner, and so I will like top of the week or top of the month, like go in and like look at like I did end up getting a physical planner because I wanted to be able to hold myself accountable to like going out and about, which is one of the things I'm really grateful that I like really built my social life prior to moving, because it would have been a lot to figure out moving, regulating my nervous system to moving. And, I also got a new job at the same time period. And it's like, that would have been a lot. And then also trying to figure out what do I do with my life on the weekends, right? Or after work. And so one of the things that I did a couple of, maybe like last year, I noticed that like I wasn't as social as like I needed to be, right? Everybody's need for socialization is very different. But I noticed that like there'd be so much time that will pass between me having an actual real fulfilling conversation with someone, which is vastly different than small talk. And I noticed that it was affecting my mood and my energy, right? And so I ended up getting a physical planner. And on that physical planner, they have the month section. And I would actually put in all the different social things I was doing and put that in a specific color so I could look at that and see. And so when there are times where I'm like feeling low energy and off, more sad, I'd look at it and I'm like, oh, okay, actually, this is an easy solve. Like, I just haven't had any real social interactions in like 2 weeks. Cool. Right. And so sometimes we can take our mood and like give that a deeper meaning of like something is wrong with me versus this is something that I can actually fix and solve. And sometimes it really is something you can fix and solve with a little healthy dose of meeting people. And so that being said, there are a couple of different types of hobbies I want you to be mindful of. One, and this is taken from a podcast that I was listening to earlier, so I'm not taking credit for any of this, but I did rename the words because I wanted them to match. I want them to have the same first letter. Anyway, so one, I want you to think about a sustainable hobby that you can have. And so that is something that's going to pour into you, nurture you, feed you, right? So that you can nurture yourself in a lot of ways. You need to be sustained in a lot of ways. So it could be something like, I need more movement in my life. And I don't want you to try and fix everything all at once, but like what's the primary priority need, right? And so maybe in this season you work remotely and so you're like, okay, I really need some more movement in my day, in my life, in my week. Cool. So your sustainable hobby would be something that gives you movement. You could literally join a walking group. You can literally search online for those. There are a ton of free ones you can join. And the cool thing about that is that also checks off your social one as well, because you're going to need a social one too, because you'll probably interact with people. And when you find something that has regulated routine, you're more likely to build a relationship through it because you're seeing those people on a consistent basis, right? So something sustainable for you, it could be movement in this season. It could also be maybe you need more healthy eating in this season. And so your sustainable hobby could be going to a farmer's market, getting some fresh food that way. Your sustainable hobby could also be I'm going to take a fun, like healthy cooking class so I can get some creative ideas for how to like sustain this idea of healthy eating by making it fun, by doing it in like an environment where it's going to be cool. Because I love the fact that there's so many different niches when it comes to things because you can literally find one for any audience. So if you're like, I need this to be more than just a boring, like fancy bougie class, I need to be like actually fun with music, with like, a vibe. You can literally find that. Okay. Smart. So you need a sustainable hobby, you need a smart hobby, something that's going to feed your brain because baby, this is the most valuable asset you got, honey. And so I want you to figure out what is something that you can do that just like feeds your brain. It could be word searches, literally. It don't got to be some major. I love word searches. You could literally decide to do that with your sustainable hobby. So maybe if you like going walking, you can do what I did yesterday, which was I went for a walk on my favorite trail. And of course they have like places where you can sit. So I like walked for a couple of like maybe like 20, 30 minutes. And then I like sat for like 10, 15 minutes and I read a book. Okay. Reading could also be your smart hobby. So I got to read in the sun. You can do a word search in the sun, crossword. I don't like crosswords, but you can do a word search in the sun. Something smart. It could also be learning a new language, which, girl, I've been trying to do for like the last 2 years. Not learn a new language. I took 8 years of Spanish in school, and so I've been trying to find a Spanish class. And every time I join one, pay to be in one, they like cancel it because like not enough people want to do what I want to do, and they're not signing up for the class. Anyways, moving on. Social. So sustainable, smart, and social. So something that puts you in a space to meet new people. There have been all these cool, like So many times we think that we're the only ones struggling with something, and then we realize we are not. And we realize that when we go out there, one, open our mouths and be vulnerable and share that we're struggling with something, and then someone else says, "Me too, girl." Or we go and we look online for something and we realize if they created a whole program around this, if people are literally monetizing it, that means there must be a large enough pool of people who are also struggling with this problem. You know the amount of apps and ads that I get on a daily basis where it's literally these curated like events for people to meet other people, because this is a big phenomenon. You are not the only person who is trying to feel less lonely, right? And so you can join one of those things. Literally search online for events to meet people. Like mixers, they're like out there all the time. And they're not just for meeting a partner, although that is also great too, but there's also like curated groups for just meeting friends. And they have them in a really great way where you can choose what kind of experience you want to have with them, which is awesome. And some of them are like facilitated, and so they like cut through the awkward small talk because I hate that. Um, yeah. And so I want you to just take some time, sit down with yourself, make a plan. It is totally doable to everybody's been talking about the great something. Like September through December is when like people take this great action and it could change their life for next year. Cool. Take that time, and instead of trying to like, you know, do these things that look really great on the outside and give you a lot of social praise, do something that's going to feel good for you and that's going to change the way that you feel in your own body, in your own life. I want you to fall in love with your life over the next 4 months. That is what I want for you. I want you to fall in love with your life. You deserve to have a life that you don't need a vacation from. We all desire, want, need, and deserve a vacation. But I don't want you to feel like you have to get a vacation from your life in order to have fun and fulfillment. You should be able to feel that every day. And hopefully this conversation is a spark that starts you on that journey. So, this is just your beautiful reminder that one, you are not alone, okay? We are all just trying to figure life out one day at a time, one choice at a time, one moment at a time. And I am so, so, so grateful to do this life, this journey with you. So until next time, friend, bye.